How big is that for you guys to take two in this game, and then also to possibly get going, once you start the Big West schedule?
Yeah, we needed a weekend to get some momentum going into conference play. We've played a really difficult schedule. We played a lot of games on the road. I think we've played somewhere near 10 games against Pac-12 teams, and we haven't got as many wins in those games as we would have liked, although we've played pretty well, better than the record indicates. At the same time, guys need to see the results of the things that they're doing to begin to have confidence and be able to play with confidence when we get into the conference schedule. So this is what we needed this weekend. It's not done yet. I mean, we've got a big game tomorrow, and hopefully we can continue the momentum into a tough midweek game against USD on Tuesday.
And you guys, like you said, have played a number of Pac-12 teams. Utah Valley last year wins 40-something games. What goes into your scheduling before you go into the Big West with this tough of a non-conference schedule?
Well, this is our third year here, and we thought at this time that it was time to put together a non-conference schedule that might better prepare us a little bit for the better teams that we're going to face in the Big West Conference. As I said, we've played well in some of those games. We haven't done enough to win, but I know we'll be better prepared. And obviously, a team like Utah Valley, which had a really good year last year, and they've got a lot of new faces and they're battling some injuries, but they're still a good quality opponent. And so, hopefully, putting together these wins against teams like this, we'll have that confidence when we go into Long Beach and when we move through the conference schedule.
And you talked about they had some injuries. You've had a couple of injuries as well. You stick in Ferramola in the DH role, and he's just lighting it up right now. Just from pitcher, from the bullpen, he struggled a little bit to. He said 2 weeks ago you just told him to pick up a bat and get in there. What was the decision behind that?
Well, a couple things. Kyle showed us some things in the fall, just when we had the pitchers hitting, that he had a little power, and we've had some injuries on the position player side. We've been struggling offensively, particularly not a lot of power threats. And so a couple weeks ago, we just decided to give it a look, and we didn't throw him right in the fire. He's been taking batting practice for about 2 weeks. Last week we had the bye weekend, which allowed us to get him some at bats in the inter squad, and he feels pretty comfortable. Obviously, nobody expected to come out with this kind of start. I mean, that's just a fun story, and hopefully it continues. But realistically, going forward, he's got a nice short swing. He's got a little bit of power, and so he's been working hard all fall, and he's been working hard on the mound, and he struggled a little bit with command, but this is an area where he can help us, and I'm good to see. It's glad to see him have success. I mean, the guys are having a lot of fun with it. Of course, the pitchers, they all think they can hit, so they love it, and it really lightens the dugout up and lightens the mood. But obviously, the result's a big part of us getting a W on Friday and a W this afternoon.
And then another guy that struggled a little bit offensively is Josh Goossen-Brown. But he had a couple hits in the first game. He also hit another ball hard. There was an error on the third baseman. Do you feel like he's coming around, and how important is he actually in the middle of that lineup for you to get him going?
Yeah, Goose. Goose is one of our older guys. He's another guy who has some strength, so he has some threat to hit an extra base hit. And statistically, it doesn't necessarily tell the story of what he's done over the last month and a half or so. He hasn't seen the fruits of it, but he's driven in some runs. His RBI numbers have been there for us, and we need somebody, to hit behind Miles Williams, who's been our primary threat offensively. So, Goose had a couple good at bats. Like I said, on Friday, hit a couple balls hard and didn't get results. But he's taken good at bats. He's taken better at bats than the numbers indicate, and he's still driven in some runs and scored runs. I mean, he's a baseball player. He's a guy you want at the plate in a key situation. He's a guy you want on the mound in a key situation. And so, yeah, it'd be nice for some of those things to start to fall for him. And if so, you know, if Kyle can continue to take some good at bats, and you know, Chester Pack's another guy who has a lot of offensive potential, and just it hasn't come together yet for him this year. So we've got more in our offense for sure, and hopefully it peaks at the right time.